Hey everyone, it's VM Campos, Magic Fan, Vintage Magic Fan. I've got a new Crack-a-Pack video for you, and this time I'm opening up a pristine booster of Tempest. This was a set published way back in the 90s, 1997. This was the first set that Mark Rosewater was the lead in, famous magic designer. All-around really cool guy. He was working at Wizards of the Coast, and this is the first set that he had like the biggest to do with. He was the head designer, developer, something like that. He's had a lot of titles. But anyway, we've got the flying ship, Weatherlight, has left the light of Dominaria for the shadow plane of Wrath in an attempt to rescue Captain Sisay. There is no calm before the storm, there is only Tempest. You can play Tempest by itself, or as a standard expansion for Magic the Gathering. Each player must have a deck to play. Tempest is recommended for experienced Magic players. So this was continuing the Weatherlight saga. Basically, they had started the block cycle by this time. This was the Wrath cycle. Previously there was Mirage, Visions, and Weatherlight. And then we go on to Tempest, Stronghold, and Exodus. Now there's a lot of valuable cards in Tempest. The power level started to return in Tempest after being weakened in Fallen Empires, Ice Age, Homelands. It started to come back in Mirage, Visions, and Weatherlight, and it definitely kicked up here. And then it totally got broken in the next cycle, the Urza block. But anyway, in here, I hope to crack a scroll rack. That's about $66. Or Intuition, $57. Earthcraft, $52. The first printing of Wasteland for $44. Humility, $29. The first printing of Ancient Tomb, $26. And even the common Lotus Petal, that'll be about $9. That's a common. They reprinted Black Lotus, but as a Lotus Petal, a 0 casting cost artifact that gives you mana at common. So let's see what we get here. Let's crack this open and see what awaits in a Tempest booster pack. Now, first of all, the way these were arranged was very different than we're used to now. We had, first you would see the uncommons, 3 uncommons, then you would see a rare. So I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to put those down like that. Uncommons, rare, and then your commons. So we've got Master Decoy. Now this is using the classic frame, the frame that had existed since Alpha. It's black border, and the set symbol was not color-coded. There was no collector info at the bottom. You didn't know how many were in a particular set, and you didn't know the rarity. This is one of the commons. We've also got the old tap symbol, and it used to say Summon Soldier. Now it would say something like Creature, Human Knight, or something. And the old classic art. Phil Foglio was a classic artist from back in the day in a very cartoony style that you just don't see anymore. I wish you still did, but I love that old art, and we're going to see lots of examples of old art, one of them like Phil Foglio. So we've got white and tap target creature. So for 2 mana you get a 1/2 and it taps, and then hilarious flavor text. A skilled decoy can throw your enemies off your trail. A master decoy can survive to do it again. So when you're riding a zebra unicorn, that's one way to really get your opponent's attention. Diabolic Edict. Oh, look at that, the first printing of Edict. So 2 mana, instant, target player sacrifices a creature. Grevin Ilvek lifted Vati off his feet. The fall will give you time to think on your failure. Mary is being tossed. Ron Spencer. They were also really putting the story on the cards themselves, because there really wasn't much lore out there. So you could follow along basically if you put the cards in order, sort of. Lowland Giant. 4 mana, 4/3, and that's it. Summon Giant. Fach, snorted Tangrath. Why would it make a meal of something like you? Squee looked relieved. No, he continued, you'd make a much better toothpick. Haha, hilarious. So, Tangrath and Squee and all of these characters, Gerard, were part of the Weatherlight crew and really a big integral part of Magic at the time. Art by Paolo Parente. Nice. Spell Blast. Okay, so this is something that had existed since, I think, Legends in 93, 94. And this is blue and X. Counter target spell with total casting cost equal to X. Nowadays, I would say, target, counter target spell with converted mana cost of X. And it also says interrupt. Interrupts were a type of spell that were faster than instants. Now they've been made extinct and they've been errated as just instants. Call it the Thinking Mage's version of brute force. This is by Steve Luke. Oh, Clergy and Vec, the card that for some reason everyone thinks is the dirtiest Magic card in existence. If you look close enough, you might figure out why. Anyway, 2 mana, Summon Cleric, 1/1, tap, prevent 1 damage to any creature or player. So it's a version of Samite Healer, basically, but with the art 1,000,000 times dirtier. Faith's Shield is hammered out by the blows of unbelievers, Oracle and Vec. And this is by Heather Hudson, so she had been an artist that had created Magic art since the beginning as well. Gaseous Form, another card from way in the beginning of Magic. Now, I say way in the beginning, but this is 1997. This is only 4 years after the invention of Magic, so it wasn't that long ago that the original Gaseous Form was printed. This is 21 years ago. This booster pack is from 21 years ago. 3 mana, enchanted creature neither deals nor receives combat damage. So it's a way to lock down your opponent's creatures. It's hard to hurt anyone when you're as transparent as your motives. Airtie, Wizard Adept. Oh, snap. And we've got Circle of Protection Blue. Okay, now this is a Harold McNeil work of art. Fuck white supremacists. Next up, we've got Soul Drinker. This is a 4 casting cost, 2/2, Summon Spirit. Pay 3 life, put a +1 counter on Soul Drinker. Ooh, I kind of love that. You pay 9 life, and it becomes a +3/+3. That's a 5/5 in Commander. That'll be really fun. Don't drink and thrive. Oh, that's the worst joke I've ever heard. And the art is by Dermot Power. Next up, we've got Overrun. 2 green, green, green. So you need a lot of green mana for this. This is all creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain trample until end of turn. It would have been amazing if it was an instant, but here you make your creatures nice and big. You want to know your enemy? Look at your feet while you trample him. Tangrath. And this is by Jeff Miracola. Next up, Dread of Night. 1 black mana enchantment. All white creatures get -1/-1. I love this card so much. It really messes with your opponent playing white weenie decks. And if you stack multiples of these, their white creatures are just done. These moonless foreign skies keep me in thrall. Dark whispers echo in the night, and I cannot resist. Thus spake Selenia, Dark Angel, is by Richard Thomas. And lastly, we've got an Earthcraft. This is a $52 card! And I miscalculated over here, because this is the rare. This is the rare of the deck. So, whoops, I miscounted. But anyway, here's the rare. $52. I'm going to retire on this little beauty. 2 mana, enchantment. Tap an untapped creature you control to untap a target basic land. The land gives up little, but we are masters of persuasion. Eladamri, Lord of Leaves. Art by Randy Gallegos. So amazing. Okay, so what do we have over here? Like, I thought I had the rare over here. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Next up, we've got Clot Sliver. Ooh, I love the art on that. That's Jeff Laubenstein. This is 2 mana, Summon Sliver, 1/1. Each sliver gains 2. Regenerate this creature. One would think I would be accustomed to unexpected returns, says Hannah, Weatherlight Navigator. Next we've got, oh, Lotus Petal, yes! This is a common, but this is about $9. Check it out. 0 casting cost artifact. Artifacts used to be brown. Tap it, sacrifice it, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Play this ability as a mana source. That's another extinct card type. It's just an instant. Hard to imagine, mused Hannah, stroking the petal. Such a lovely flower, inspiring such greed. This is by April Lee. So, I may not have a Black Lotus, but I have Lotus Petal. Wow. Next up, we've got the Circle of Protection Red. There's another Harold McNeil art. Fuck white supremacists. And lastly, we've got the Power Sink. Oh, that's another counterspell there. X and a blue. This one's a little different, however. It's kind of weird. Counter target spell, unless its caster pays an additional X. If he or she does not, tap all mana-producing lands that player controls and remove all mana from his or her mana pool. So basically, you force them to pay mana, whether they want to or not. They're trying to cast their creature, you force them to pay 2 more mana, they have to pay the mana, it gets used up. So it's a really interesting counterspell. This is by Jeff Miracola right here. All right, there we go. So this was amazing. I got a Lotus Petal, beautiful. That's at a common. And then I got the rare. Let's look at it right here, the Earthcraft. Let's get in here very close up right here. Let's look at all of the detail here by Randy Gallegos. Amazing. Well, there you go. That was my booster pack opening of some vintage Magic cards. Tempest, way back from 1997. Can you believe it? Magic is 25 years old, and Tempest was a set from back in the day when I first played in the 90s. I think it was very cool to be able to open one of these vintage boosters and share my elation with you, except for Harold McNeil. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, click like, share, comment, all that good stuff. Did you used to play Magic back in the day like I did? Tell me all about it. If you've never played with these cards or heard of these cards, tell me all about it in the comments. You can help me out by going to my Patreon, patreon.com/vmcampos. For $1, you help support my streams, my videos, my cracker packs, my how-to videos, all that great stuff. If you go to the $2 range, I will actually mail you some vintage Magic cards. No, not a Lotus Petal. If you can't contribute at the moment, no worries. Simply follow on Patreon to keep up to date with everything that I do. Well, this has been VM Campos, and I'll see you on Wrath.